Y'all actually won an award, the Boss Mag 2009 Ohio Hip Hop Award. Y'all won for that media outlet thing.
Man, I don't even know.
Like y'all won. He didn't even know he won.
Nah. What'd you say? Who was it?
You won the Boss Magazine 2009 Ohio Hip Hop Award. Congratulations.
That's legendary.
Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Peanut, aka Dash Resource. My man Stack Smith.
Stack Smith in the building, bro. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, bro. The Legendary People Podcast YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, ring the bell notification so you can get alerted each and every time we drop a new video, bro. We're the Legendary People Podcast. We broadcast every night, especially Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. And we bring on guests from anywhere, but notably from Dayton, and let them share their stories and their experience to inspire everyone that's watching. We want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, which is Kiara Wine. You can get Kiara Wine by hitting Antoine Cunningham on Facebook. This is a new wine in the city. It's very good.
Absolutely.
And it's major. And so you definitely want to see what he got going.
We're going to try it live on air today.
We're going to try it live on air. And we want to give a shout to Sheets, who has the best breakfast in the city.
Absolutely.
We go to Sheets for breakfast all the time. Definitely black-owned business, and they cook it up real good, bro. Any and everything you want, they got it there at Sheets. I like the turkey bacon. They make that good old turkey bacon. You don't got to eat no pork on your fork. You got the jerk chicken bowls at Agnes All Natural Grill for lunch.
Yes.
So stop by North's Agnes All Natural Grill.
Big North.
Cocoa bread and the brown sugar lemonade. That's on 3rd and Wayne. And last but not least, T-Shirt Kings, 247.com.
T-Shirt
Go
Kings.
pushing out 4301 North Main Street. Come through and holler at us. See us every day.
But you forgot if you are involved in an accident, brother.
Oh, yeah.
And if you've been drinking a little bit.
Like I just
Look, got him on 1 point to me already. Set at the home.
did not
Hey,
say
Martia.
nothing about my bro Michael Wright. If you're involved in an accident at any time, anywhere,
See that?
go to the hospital.
Trying to keep my phone
Accountability
still.
friends, you can
Accountability,
Michael Wright, 937-222-7477. Now, Peanut, back to you, bro.
Now listen, I know I say this every single episode, right?
Right.
The last time I thought I was saying this, and I meant it wholeheartedly, and I still do, right? But this is one of the most legendary interviews I've ever done to date.
Oh.
I'm being completely honest. Smith, you better not get started before we even get started. 'Cause
I do agree with you, bro.
I literally have never had anyone I interviewed that I literally want to start their butterfly effect off to even start.
Oh.
You're the first person I want to do that with.
Okay.
So just by your whole story of how, like, we're going to talk about our story, y'all, so just please bear with us, right? But just your whole journey on what you have encompassed, what you mean for people who didn't graduate high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For you to make that your forefront of making sure people are getting their GED, because GED doesn't stand for good enough education. That's literally a passport for where they need to go to further the rest of their life, because a lot of times we're hindered by those things,
Right.
such as they'll put this ceiling above you, this imaginary ceiling of education, when honestly every job I've ever worked at, you had somebody train you, no matter how much education you have. From what you have accomplished, like literally on your birthday you got a special gift from the mayor, Nan Wellen. You want to speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, actually that happened a couple of times.
What is our guest? Who is our
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you, Smith. Thank you, Smith. I'm just over here like
That's important for me, bro.
He was just a little excited.
Miss, age no factor.
Yeah.
The Robin Jefferson Mobley. My bad, y'all. My bad, y'all. Hey. So back to your butterfly effect, right? Because to me, I just think I should set the tone to just let people know who we're actually talking to today, because we will not be able to go through everything you've done, because you have accomplished so much, and you still got so much more to accomplish.
Right.
But this is a small intro to what we're about to actually do. This is going to be a whole butterfly effect going into this. She has ties with everybody that you ever met that was prominent in Dayton, Ohio. I guarantee it. So without further ado, we start off at the Legendary People Podcast with origins. So where'd you grow up at?
Actually, partially Dayton, Ohio, and Denver, Colorado. And when my sister passed away when she was 17 years old, I moved back to Dayton when I was 15 going on 16.
Well, let's start in Denver then.
Okay.
I'm sorry to hear about that. RP to that queen. What's her name, by the way?
Rochelle.
Rochelle.
Yeah,
RP Rochelle.
Yeah.
So, like, what was life like?
Yeah, Rochelle.
What was life like in Denver, Colorado?
It was. I really loved actually living in Denver. The diversity, I really loved it. Was pretty active when I was there. I played basketball, ran track, volleyball, all those things. I did the same thing when I came back down to Dayton as well. But it was a beautiful thing. I loved the skiing, the atmosphere. It just, to think of Denver, I always think of my sister's death though.
Wow.
So I was young when we moved, when my parents, divorced when I think I was like 6 years old. So we were raised there up until 15.
Okay, so what school did you go to there? Because we all want to find out that. And some of your friends, I mean, you may not still have ties to them, but who were some of your friends and what?
I went to Grove Middle School. I also went to... I don't remember the elementary school. Oh, God.
It was one of them schools?
Yeah, it was one of them schools. I'm trying to think. I'm 53 now. But, so, I can't think if I remember the name of the elementary school. Don't even try. Okay. I went to Grove at Montbello High School. Okay. So, is that good enough?
Yeah.
Trust me, I went to school. I used to get suspended a lot. Maybe that's why I don't remember.
Let's get into that first. She's setting the tone now. She's setting the tone now.
I mean, we gonna keep it real.
Right.
We gonna keep it real. Hey, Tiff.
Hi, baby.
One of my other best friends. Tiff is here.
You introduce your friends before you
This
get
is my
to
friend
why you got suspended
Tiff
from school.
and Aisha. And I call them both my sisters, though.
We weren't there when all that jumped on.
No, but I did.
What's the suspension story?
So, okay. Here's one that was really good one. So, I went to Grove. I think this was like a junior high school or something like that. And so, believe it or not, I used to go, I was quiet, shy, kind of stayed to myself. I dressed different. I just was a little loner, stayed to myself. But I was real skinny, had real long hair, and I spoke real proper, right? Mm-hmm. So as growing up, it was like the black girls, I mean, it's the truth, didn't like me because I was real light-skinned, long hair, pretty, and she just sounded like a white girl. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The white girls didn't like me because I'm a black girl, but I look white, and so it was, so they used to pick with me all the time. Yeah. So my mother used to say, and my father used to say, that if they hit you, this is what my father said. Rest in peace, Dad. He was saying, you don't do the tit for tat and knocking off sticks and then he said you just go crazy on them. Yep. So I did crazy a couple of times. So by the time I got to high school, nobody bothered me. But what happened with this specific suspension? The girl hit me in the face with a ball, and so I just beat her kind of bad, and where like her eye was messed up real bad.
You put the beats on.
I'm just gonna leave it at that. It was really bad, really bad. Yeah. So but it was bad. We'll just leave it at that. Right. And then one other one was it was a girl that used to pick with me all the time. Honestly, it was not me, but she used to pick with me, follow me home from school, and threaten to beat me up. Her 21-year-old sister would come up to the school, because I finally fought the sister and beat the sister up. So it was this whole big thing on Colfax. So if you guys that are watching from Denver, y'all know where Colfax is. Cars, everybody waiting for this fight. I'm about to fight a 21-year-old at 14 years old.
Wow.
My mother came up there. She found out about it. My stepdad and everything. All he had to say was, you can do what you do. Mm-hmm. So, but my mom, what happened was my mom ended up knowing the girl's mother.
Wow.
They worked together at the post office, and we didn't get to fight. We didn't even get to fight.
All this got away.
Right.
Still disappointed.
Yeah. Still. After all the picking, I was ready to fight. Yeah. And my mother was like, and they knew each other, and they was like, girl, y'all not about to fight each other. So That's just a couple of them. But yeah, my mother, when she would interview on radio shows and stuff, they would want to know how, about your daughter Robin, and she would say she was challenged. She was challenging. She was challenged. But my mother would always say, I believed in my daughter.
Right.
I knew my daughter was going to be somebody. I don't want to cry. Y'all know I just lost my mom.
Love.
But no matter what I did and however I acted, my mother never doubted me. She never stopped. She was always there for me or whatever, So, yeah, I was a little,
Love. That's love.
But I asked God to take that out of me. Honestly, I did. Because I don't think that that's good. I don't think it's cute, all the fighting, the young girls, because when I married my artist and the girls was fighting in the club, that what was cute about that? You know what I'm saying? All the fighting. That just...
We call them dusty bang-outs around here.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So,
Yeah,
so like aside from your mother, who were some other early influences for you? I mean, it could be hip hop as well. Like what kind of music you listen to?
Well, we actually was raised in the church.
Okay.
So we were always going to church all the time, and I loved, as far as the gospel artists, like Shirley Caesar was one of my favorite artists. And I'm trying to think of who. I don't know. I just never really, it was like that. My mom, I just loved my mom and appreciated her. It wasn't like I followed anybody, or I really was different. It wasn't like I really followed nobody or anything like that. It was just, our family was so close, and my aunts and my grandmother, those were the women that I looked up to.
Them queens.
Yeah, my family sang and things like that.
I heard you say that you did participate in sports. You said basketball?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I played, I played at Colonel White.
Okay.
When Tobet and everybody then was there. So I played at Colonel White, but I played basketball, volleyball. I also ran track. I was into drama and modeling and all those kind of things growing up. And actually, I played basketball all the way up until, did I turn 50? Was it my 50 was the last game? The balling for lupus. No, I was still playing basketball. I played basketball with my children. All my kids played basketball real good. So I played all the way up until 50 until I injured my knee. Yeah. Yeah,
Still getting buckets out. Yeah. So like, what was that transition like going from Colorado to here? I mean, obviously the weather.
The weather was totally different. It was really cold there, and then to come back here. But the transition was, I had lost my sister, so I therefore was going through a lot. My mother went into depression for 2 years. And so she stayed up in an attic for 2 years.
Literally.
My mother went through about my sister. Yeah. So my grandmother, stepped in and kind of was the one that was ironing my sports uniforms, and my grandmother was the one that would make sure that dinner was there when I got home, and my grandmother was the one that bought the clothes for me, like when I was in the pageants and stuff like that. So my family, how do I say this? My family is a very special family. My grandmother was a very special woman. She was an entrepreneur. She was a domestic violence survivor, a prayer warrior, awesome woman. And our mom, my aunts, we were all so close. Yeah. And so just to watch everybody and the relationship they had with the Lord and just the power of praying women, it was like, I don't know, y'all, I'm pausing because I lost all of them at the same time recently. Yeah. So when I'm having the flashbacks and I'm talking about my family, I lost all of them. Yeah. Like my Uncle Gene. It started from Uncle Gene, Grandma, Mama, Aunt Bev, Aunt Kathy, and my father.
Well, let's celebrate them a little bit.
Yeah.
I lost my people, and I know how it is. And sometimes a loss is a gain in another way.
It has been.
And it's addition by subtraction in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because now we got some guidance. We got a little more intuition. We got a little just unseen forces that's going to help you in another. So
they were go-getters.
Let's spend a little time on your sister.
Which one? I have two.
Your sister,
the one that passed away.
When you was young.
Yeah. Okay.
So about how old were you when this happened?
I was 15.
15, and how old was she?
17. She had just turned 17.
Oh, so how was you guys' relationships? Because I know
we were
with my daughters,
yeah,
love each other. It's always
a competition,
rivalry, and if one says right, the other
It wasn't with her. It's with my other sister that's still living. No, it's with my other sister, Binky, that's still living. It wasn't with her. My sister, Rochelle, has special needs. And I think that's where, when you talk about, let's talk about some positive things about it, I think that's what inspired me to be a people person, to love people, to do things for people, and to help people, and to be as humble, as I am. That came from my mom then, but the experience of growing up with a sister that had special needs. And so I learned a lot about, special education. I learned a lot about caring. I learned a lot about, beating up people that bully people. I learned, you know what I'm saying? But I learned a lot from her, and from that, it was, that's how, I treat, especially when it comes to the education part.
Right. We're gonna get there in a second. Okay. So like the transition from Colorado to here, I mean, it's rocky, and there's no pun intended from Colorado Rocky. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's a bar on the accident. But who are your first friends that you culminate with when you come to date?
Let me see. Tobet Pleasant. Yeah.
So you pick
Devonna
one.
Cabot.
Okay.
Well, I'm not a person that has a lot of people around me, a lot of friends around me. Here's two,
family.
And it may be one more or two more. Mm-hmm. So it was more family and stuff. I didn't have a lot of people around me. But when I came from Denver to Dayton, it was Devonna Cabot, Tobet Pleasant, and I'm trying to think, was there anybody else? The rest of it was just our cousins and family. That's how close we all hung around each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you guys, I lived at 1500 West Grand Avenue,
hey.
right at the corner of Euclid and Grand.
Wow.
That's where I was raised. Yes, I was. Yes,
Grand
that's why they
Avenue.
say don't let it fool ya. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was right there. I was raised right there. 1500 Grand in Euclid. Yeah,
what was that transition? I mean, because we talked about the, saying like you was in Colorado skiing, fun time there.
Riding horses.
Yeah, everything.
What are the activities that you're engaging in now when you move to Grand, 500 Grand?
Well, 1500 Grand Avenue. I did the same thing though. When I came from Denver to Dayton, I did still play sports, and I still modeled, and I did all those kind of things. But I got married early, so most of my from 18 all the way up until 36.
I don't want to go that far yet, love. I don't want to go that far yet.
Okay, well, I didn't do nothing else. In between that time, I had kids. I had children. I was raising kids. I was being a mom.
I ain't do nothing else.
I wasn't a club mom. I was a mom.
Look, I got you. So, what got you started into modeling?
My grandmother.
Your grandmother.
Yeah, my grandmother was a model.
Okay, so
yeah, she was a model.
Give us a little bit of her backstory when it comes to her modeling career.
My grandmother was very beautiful. Like, she was an entrepreneur. She did hair. Mm-hmm. She owned a lot of property here in Dayton, and she was like a Miss Parker. So when she was out in her yard, she didn't do all the Miss Parker stuff, but she was. Wait a minute. But she was the one that, she was dressed up out there in the yard, like doing her flowers and everything like that with the shorts and the little dressy shoes and all that. That was my grandma. She was cute. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was my grandmother. And she was always on point, dressing always on point and everything. And my grandmother was the type of grandmother, which a lot of us do have, that is, she's not going to lose a near child, a near grandchild. If you out in the street, she going to come and get you. She going to find you. She's going to support. She's going to do whatever she has to do to pray you back in. So I had that, that type of grandma. But she was the one that actually, started me in modeling. So
what was the process going from being shy in Denver to being now a model in Dayton?
When we talk about that, the modeling and the shy part, that's why there's Robin Mobley, and that's why there's JVet.
Hey,
so
okay.
JVet is very outgoing. She models, she does all kind of things, she hosts, everything. And then Robin's more conservative, the elected official person, that does a lot of community things and events. So they're kind of two different things. JVet will go and host, like in a club, or do certain things.
We ain't going to the club yet. We're still talking about before you was too. First of all, you want old enough to drink in the story we're at, right? All right. You ain't old enough to drink yet. You talking about yeah. And JVet the one that popped the bottle in the VIP. We're not there yet. We're not
He wants to keep you Little Robin.
Right, Little Robin.
Little Robin.
They
What's
call
about Little
me they call me Robbie.
Robbie. Right.
Back then, in high school, did you call yourself JVet? Was that your name back then too, or that came on later?
No, JVet came on, well, let's just say that when high school, I was a teenage mom and a teenage wife. So that's why I'm telling you, we only can go so far with the teenage part because I was a teenage mother and a teenage wife.
At what age do you have a child, is to interject, sorry?
18. I actually got pregnant when I was 17, and I got married, well, towards the mid part of 17, and by the time I had my son and got married, I was 18 years old.
Wow.
So all that was a mom, you know, and I had another child.
That's crazy because we kind of share that linear there because, like, for instance, like I was the father at 16.
Okay. Okay.
And then had another son at 17.
Okay. You was, yeah, that was,
Yeah.
okay.
But found out the one that,
I said, okay.
but at 16, I found out that, like, the first one wasn't mine, which is, like, but I still was the father first. I mean, I was active. So to me, I, like, there's a distinction of, like, when I was in high school and my friends in high school, when they wanted to go do things, there's certain things I couldn't go do because I had to be a father first.
Yeah.
So I like, for instance, like I always jokingly say that I've been a father longer than I've been anything in my life. I've been a father forever.
Right. Yeah. Okay,
So I understand when you say that like you ain't do nothing else. I understand that. So your friends.
How was it being a teenage mom though?
It was really something because my mother warned me of that. My mother was a teenage mother and wife, and she always told me she knew that she said the way that I acted even when I was little, that I had goals and dreams. She knew I was going to be somebody, and so she would always warn me, you know, about, you know, out there having sex with guys or just, you know, do your dreams and goals first. And of course, I ended up getting pregnant and got married, you know, and so it was something because for those that are watching, young ladies, you do end up losing a lot. Not that you can't gain it back, not that you can't do it. It's just a little harder on you. And I think that's what my mother was trying to prevent. Hey, go do your goals, go do your dreams, do all that. And it just took some time because my marriage, that just took some time.
Walk us through that of being married that early. Because I mean, I was thinking about it at that point in time. Like, well, 2 kids, you might as well shack up somewhere. But like, what was that like for you personally?
Well, actually, in my mindset, and I spoke about this at my GD graduation, is that it wasn't my children's idea to be here. It was by my actions of, you know, what I did, that the reason why my children were here. So therefore, I had a responsibility to be a mother to my children and make sure that they had a home and make sure that the house was clean and dinner was cooked and food was cooked and you know, even when my children were little, just making sure that they had what they needed to become a young man or a young lady, whether from the education, from whether it was the sports or just community things. So a lot of things that I wanted to do did get put aside because I mean, I have children. Like, I can't sit up in no club and try to be known in a club or none of those kind of things. I have to raise these children to be somebody or something, you know, in this world. So there were some things that I wanted to do, took a back seat, you know, for a while. Now, what I tell people and tell women is have balance, because if you don't have balance, some women will get stuck in that mode of just being this mother. Then you transition into a grandmother. Then you transition just into the grave.
Mama gotta have a life too. We learned our baby boy.
Right.
Our baby boy. Mama gotta have a life too.
You have to have a life too, and so has to have balance. But what happened with me in my marriage, when you asked how was it, see, when I lost my sister at 17, there was this thought in my head that if I do anything different from just being a wife and a mother, or being a single mother, you know, with children, that I'll probably lose one of my children. Just the fear of what happened to my sister dying at 17, my mother, because she got remarried, and my sister and stepdad didn't really get along. So it is stuck in my head. So I stayed, you know, in a marriage, you know, through some things that I, you know, wouldn't tell people to stay in, but neither here or there, that I'm not even gonna go there about that. But that kind of affected how I moved, you know, in my marriage. Yes.
Okay. So, also what I found was, to me, which is very like, you know, like heroin was the fact, like you didn't just only care about your own children, you care about other children as well, such
Yes.
as when the busing situation.
Yeah.
Can you please enlighten us a little bit?
Well, when my children were in school, when they were in elementary school, there was this big problem back in the early 80s or early 90s with children and the safety of children on school buses in different school districts. And so I took it upon myself to really start pressing an issue about the safety of children on the bus and started recommending that they put aids on the bus, not just on the special need buses, but put aids or some extra body on the school buses.
Yes.
And so it was about that, and it was also about, not having seatbelts. They didn't have seatbelts on the bus for the kids. And so that's probably one of the articles that you read.
Yes.
Yeah, back then. And so out of 600
First
something
person
school
called me
districts-
out on my own.
Yeah. But out of 600 and something school districts, I was able to make a change about that.
611 to be exact.
See?
So, you also were the founder of the Grand Hope Youth Mentoring.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us more about that?
Wow, that was so long ago. I started Grand Hope Street for several reasons. One, I wanted to inspire women and men to get their GEDs. That it's not too late. You can still get your education, because believe it or not, getting a GED is harder than taking them 4 years and going through school.
Absolutely.
You got to put all that
All
in
4
one
years
time.
into
Yeah,
one
into one thing. So we did that. I did the camps. And I involved Jefferson Township School District, and we would go use their gyms. They would bring lunch and stuff to the camp. So yeah, I did that for a little bit.
So, just to tie it in also, is that kind of a similar path that you took to finish the high school portion of your trajectory?
What I did with finishing and going back and get my GED, because I never wanted my children to have an excuse not to finish school, not to go to college, or not to, get a trade, or not to even try in life. So they can never say, Mama just quit, she was a teenage mom, she just didn't. No, that's not the case. My mother went on and got her GED. My mother went on and went to college. My mother went on and signed my diploma. My mother went on and was the board of Jefferson School District. So I wanted to always just show them that, never quit. You just never know what may happen for you.
So, like kind of fast forward to the point I'm trying to get to. So, like, what was that
Okay.
like becoming the president of the Jefferson Township?
It was very exciting, because when I ran for school board, there was
Let's
this
go there.
whole thing and it was even in the paper, that can she run a school district because she didn't finish school?
What
She
they call
didn't finish
them,
high school.
An incumbent?
Yeah,
What's incumbent mean?
The person you're talking about, either the person that was already on the board, or somebody that's on the board or whatever, and then you win again or something like that. And so they were all talking and saying, she can't run a school district. She didn't even finish school. So that's how it all came out. But the funny thing about it was, it didn't hurt me, because when I was running for school board, I already said it. I already said I didn't finish high school. I already said I was a teenage mother. I already said I was a teen. I already said everything you and I was talking. I already said it. So when I ran, politics is a mess. And they try to stab you, do this, and that. You couldn't, because I came out and said, this is what it is. This is who I am. This is what I did. Now what? They didn't have any ammunition or nothing when I was running, because she already said it. And so I, ran. But when you said the experience of it, it was amazing. I was very excited, very happy. It was about, I wanted to make my mom proud. Wow. I wanted to show my mom that her believing in me all those years and all the stuff, whatever I put her through, to become the president of a school district and run a school district, man, just to show her, thanks, Mom, just thank you. How much I appreciate you. And it just started going from there, but I was very, happy, very excited about it.
Smith.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
Hey, okay. I'll make sure. So like, to me, I feel that that is an amazing feat, and that's only at that part. If your story stops there, that's still amazing. There's so much more after that. So you did the March Against Violence.
Yes, I did. I did that with Revival Center Ministry. And I think it was the IWA women, which my mother was a part of that, with Bishop Marva Mitchell. And my grandfather actually is a Mitchell. Bishop, he was the oldest, of the kids or whatever. And so I participated with that and with the march. And so.
You said Mitchell, but you also have a different side of your family as well, which I saw this beautiful It was like a family reunion picture, and y'all had on these shirts. I was like, I had to Google why they had the shirts on. It was Betty, right? But they were Betty from Archie. Is that because of the Archie?
Which family?
It was the Archie side of the family with the Betty shirts.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
Dion? That's one of my cousins.
Oh,
so
okay.
she's married to the Archie.
Okay, yeah, because it's a picture of y'all and y'all got like Archie shirts.
We recent. You talking about the red one?
It was white. Y'all was,
Probably Dion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good though.
Okay.
So like your passion for helping kids, mainly with a GED, it came from your own experience. But you also went off to go to ICB, and then you actually did eventually get your, what was it called, the applied science communication for television and radio.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so like what was that experience like?
Let me tell you, when I first started, I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I back? Why am I doing this? What in the heck are you saying? Robin. And so it was like, and then trying to remember how to spell the word. I'm telling the truth. Trying to remember how to spell the words and what does that mean? And then psychology class and stuff. And so, at this point, I'm grown. I'm not a kid. So you're in this psychology class, and sometimes it just didn't make sense. I was like, you got it. Whoever put all this stuff in the book, this don't make sense. We don't use this in life. I'm saying this to the teacher. This is just ridiculous. Right. But my goal is he was failing just like everybody in that class. And I was just like, I refuse. If I pass with a C, I'm good. Because I had A's and B's in all the other classes, mostly A's. Right. Had a pretty good GPA. But in the beginning, it was pretty like, it was a little rocky there. But I buckled down, and I would study for like an hour or 2 hours. I would even have my children go over words with me. Wow. I had a special chair by the fireplace in my home, and I really studied and really just went in hard, like, with it. And so it was exciting even with that, to have my mom, my sister, and my children to be a part of, of that. And then I also, at that time I was going through, my divorce, and I had the near-death experience during that time. Oh, wow. And so that was another reason why I went ahead and said, because I was already doing radio and television without the degree. Right. Yeah, I was at WDAO. Mm-hmm. So I already was doing all that, but I just wanted to have a piece of paper and just give myself time to heal. And I went on and went to college.
Which I want to ask you on two fronts, right? So such as like you already, because like most people go to school in order to get a job. You already had one that you
already have them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so to go to school for that, just for the paper, how'd you feel about just going to school just for the paper? Did it kind of like put a little damper in it a little bit?
No, actually, there was a meaning to going and getting the paper. Again, encouraging my children that, whatever I went through, Mama went ahead and went on. Then she went to college. Like, I'm just didn't give them no excuses at all. This, if I can do this, you can do it. But it was meaning to me, because in society they want you to have a piece of paper. Not necessarily those of you that are watching. You have to have it because God moves in mysterious ways. You can get a job that somebody may tell you no, but there's always somebody to say yes. So God always blessed me in that kind of way. I mean, I already was doing stuff at DATV, Fox 45, 22 News. I was already, WD. I was already doing all that. Right. But it was just getting that piece of paper because it's just something that they require in the world that you need to have. But I was already doing all that.
Right. So, so part B of that is to the aspiring people who walking in your footsteps now, who would come across this later on in life. Which that's our whole passion project is for that. It's not for the people that's like. Thank you, everybody that's like and subscribing to our page right now. But it's really a passion project for future.
Right.
To help other people. Great. What do you feel that like on the going to school side of it? On the side of journalism and TV, do you feel like that is required now for you in order to do it? Or do you feel like in hindsight that
if you want me to be honest with you, no. No. Not everybody is meant for schooling. Not everybody is meant for 4 years. Not everybody is meant for that. And that's why when I brought up the part about God and favor, I mean, some of us have had rocky lives and some of us may go through something, but that doesn't mean you can't be anybody or you can't do the things that you want to do. It is amazing how when doors and stuff were closed or people thought the doors were closed, God had a window just go around to SAG. that. Roll the window up, climb in. You in, Robin, you in. So the same with other people. It's not going to always work like that with everybody. School is just not for everybody.
Right.
But you can start your own radio show, your own talk show, your own whatever. You can do these own things, but not, No, but I'm just saying, it really is. And so what I believe in, when we go through things in life, is testimonies.
Absolutely.
Those are testimony times, testimony situations, to either tell somebody else or just for God to show you, or just to show men and people out there that if you got God, that's all you need.
Yep.
So.
Because you can't go through a testimony without a test.
There you go.
Check. So, but also, to me, I want to add more to that, such as, because the people that's behind you are the people that are watching. The people that are watching are people that are going to say, okay, I want someone to test the waters for me. I want someone else to do that. And for God, so to me, I just feel that your story is so monumental when it comes to the next stage of women transitioning into themselves, because a lot of times we can just get caught up in just mom work, kids problems, and for you, because we ain't even got to talk about the other part of your life yet, because I want to ask you, so when did you transition into artist management?
Wow. Okay, let's see. It was when I was healing from the near-death experience. And that's when JVet came about. I retired from Jefferson Township School Board. And
Near-death experience?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm going there next. I'm going there next. I promise I'm going there next. I
did. Yeah. And so,
if you ever think that, think it. Don't whisper it in the mic ever again. Give me a point.
And it's the look. It's the
Jay,
look on his face like,
point,
no, I really need that.
Everybody watching this on notice.
yeah. So it actually started where the car accident happened first, where I was on the highway and a motorcycle had ran into the back of a car, and his motorcycle was spinning, and so at that point in time, it was like a movie. His body was literally flying like you would see in a movie right in front of me, and so I had to make a decision. Do I run him over because he's about to hit the pavement, or do I let this motorcycle just fly and just whatever happens to me happens to me? Wow. So I chose to let the motorcycle hit me, and he hit the embankment wall. It threw him into the highway, and I had gripped the steering wheel so bad that's why this is here, the scar. I tore the ligaments. My stomach was just so messed up. I had surgery on my ankle, a lot of things. And believe it or not, God still used me in that situation because I followed the man. And I wanted to know where he was, and I wanted to pray for him, and I wanted to check on him. And I would go see this man at the hospital and the nursing home. And so it's just always a story, something that happens from it. But with that was the first thing. And I just chose to let whatever happened to me happen.
I want to stop you in that moment because a lot of times we get caught up in vanity. I mean, like myself. I mean, I like to look all right? So... But I'm no model by any stretch of imagination. You being a model, having to go through that, how traumatizing was that for you, just having to...
It was, the scars, having the scars on my body, on my arm and things like that, or my hand, that bothered me a little bit. But at the same time, just the way that I was raised, I just keep going on. Like, it's just something that happens. Okay, it's something that happens, and keep going and just on to the next thing. And that was actually, the accident was during the time when I was running for my second term on school board, and I had a cast on and everything, and I'm still standing out there, putting my signs out with the little cast, and standing at the pole, handing my papers out and everything. No joke. See, that's that's that tenacity, pit bull mentality. Like, I don't stop. I'm gonna keep going. But yeah, that started, just before the near-death experience. Yeah.
That's a great segue because the name of your book is
Power of Tenacity.
So let's talk about the book.
Yeah. So the book Power of Tenacity is a book with poetry, quotes and thoughts, And like I think a lot. I'm a thinker, and I'm always have all these thoughts in my head. And so if you follow me on Facebook, Robin JVet Mobley, at the JVet on IG. But I'm always putting up quotes and thoughts, and so that's what started me with doing a radio show in Carolina. But that's another thing. But because he saw me with the quotes and thoughts, and so my story and things that I've been through, I just put it all in a book, but it's in a format of quotes and thoughts. And so if you just follow it, it's very empowering, motivating, and that's how that came about.
But also I had saw a post where you said that you read your book and you got invigorated by reading your own words.
Yeah.
But was that a reason why you wrote the book, or is it more or less like you're dealing with trauma that you're dealing with and it's your positive outlet? Is your
I realized that I always say sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Sometimes you have to inspire yourself. Sometimes you have to talk to yourself. Sometimes you just have to push yourself. And so when I did the book, during the time that I finished the book, that's when I was dealing with from the car accident. That's with my mother being ill. And I wanted to have the book done, before anything else happened to my mother. And so it was like kind of pushed out there a little bit, like that. So that's kind of how the book came. Because at first I don't know if I ever would have put it out, or I probably would just kept writing all my life. I don't know. Right. But that's what inspired me to kind of put it all in the book.
So do you have hope and aspiration to write more in the future?
Everybody keeps saying you need to write the story about your life.
You definitely should write more.
That's what they said.
For real. Because, we all laugh at this right now, but it's really serious. She literally has, for instance, okay, let me do a little segue. We have people that come on our show sometimes, and it's based off of, their memory and stuff like that. To have documents. Yeah. Like, shout out to Tony Ruby. he said it's all about documentation. You could be the greatest person in the world, but on paper they say you a criminal, you go into prison. Exactly what it is. You know what I mean? So paperwork is very important, and I think documentation is very important. Myself being a writer, I think it's inspiring to see someone who's who literally have written a book, and you have so much more to put in. Yeah. So if there's one thing I can say to you as a word of encouragement, please do.
Thank you. Can we go back real quick, because absolutely. I see you got a lot of stuff down there. But let's just go back to we do need to speak on the near-death experience and how the transition happened with the, you said about management and entertainment and how I went into that. So with the near-death experience, I started bleeding inside for 7 days, and they couldn't get it to stop. And so they called my son home, who had got a scholarship at Indiana State, and they called my son Christopher home, my children and everybody. And it just wouldn't stop. So I was literally bleeding, on the inside. And the funny thing about it was, it's not funny, but the thing about it is that I was having this pain in my stomach, right? So, but before I felt the pain, I was asleep, and it was like my sister who passed away. And so I don't know if people believe in this stuff or not, but honestly, I promise y'all, it was like my sister woke me up. I promise you. So I'm asleep, bleeding inside, and not knowing that I'm bleeding inside. So you know how when you can feel somebody looking at you or something?
And it's like they're close.
Yeah, they all close to you. So when I opened my eyes, I saw my sister that had passed away. But immediately when I saw her, I felt the pain in my stomach. And so it went from there, and going to the doctor and getting checked, and they said, you're bleeding inside, sent me to the hospital. And it just wouldn't stop. And I was in this room. I was at Miami Valley Hospital. The woman next to me they put me on a cancer floor. I hadn't been diagnosed with cancer, but there were people hollering. People when they have cancer, they're in pain. So I didn't know what was going on, and all these people were hollering and crying. The woman next to me, she was screaming and crying. She passed away. The man across the hall from me, it was like just crazy. But every time I got up, I was bleeding, and just But Bishop Samuel Roy Johnson, he said that the Lord had told him to come out and pray for me, and he laid his hands on me. And when he laid his hands on me, it immediately stopped. So when I got up, I wasn't bleeding anymore. So that was the part of the near-death experience thing where I literally did almost die. Everything. They said it was like I was dying. My whole insides like I was 90 years old. Like it was really bad. So, but what happened was I started really thinking about my life at that point. Have I done everything that I possibly could do, or that I could be? Then do away with all the stressful things that was causing you stress, and I had to focus on myself. But the funny thing was, is when I was doing that and transitioning on focusing on myself and healing from everything, I had to learn how to walk again. There was nurses coming to my house, and I'll never forget the day that a nurse came to the house. She was a substitute nurse, and she came, and the night before I prayed to God and said, God, I promise you, if you heal me, I will do everything I can for you. I will tell my stories, my testimonies. And I took a whole bag of medicine. I was on medicine and everything. Threw everything away. Slid on the floor because I barely could walk. Slid on the side of the bed, and I prayed to God. And that next day, when the nurse came, I literally got up and was just walking just fine to the door. And the lady came in and said, well, I'm here to see Robin Mobley. And I said, I am. She said, no, they just told me she was real weak. She could barely walk. And I said, no, it's me. So at that point, once I threw away all the medicine, I started working out. I worked out like 2 or 3 times a day. I lost weight. Just was eating healthy. But during that time, I also met my artist. And I met him because that's during the time when I told you they was about to lose the athletic department in Jefferson. Yeah. And so I had asked the kids, I said, you know what? I need to do something. I need to, outside of the lady donating that money. Yeah. I said, we need to do a show. We need to do something. I need to make money. I said, we can't afford, the school district can't afford like a real famous person. Who could we use? And then the kids was telling me about Chaos, CC Server. So I didn't know a Chaos. I didn't know a CC Server, didn't know anything. But when I called him, the funny thing about it is when I called him, God spoke to me, to him in his life first. So that's how it, it started. And that was during the time all that other stuff was going on, with him. And I didn't know him. So I didn't know nothing about none of that stuff. But he came and helped raise that money to save our school district. So that's how the relationship started with CC Server and I.
That is
and the
so
entertainment
legendary.
part.
And again, I want to say, man, free that brother, man, because that story right there is something that should have been heard, like, resounding everywhere. Because you always hear, like, that's one thing I hate about the press and I hate about the news is whenever it's a skin folk, it's always all the things that they want to put in there, not the things that we want to put in there.
Yeah, he did. It was more than one fundraiser, more event that we did that he was really actively involved with helping save a lot of things, like at Jefferson Township. It was honestly him, and there's pictures and documentation of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah. But that's how the entertainment part started, because it was during the transition of me healing from dying, the divorce, everything that I was going through, and then resigning from the board and transitioning into entertainment, and start traveling back and forth to Atlanta and Dayton. So that's how all that started.
So we want to thank you for the bridge that you built between.
You're welcome.
There you go, talking.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So what's it like going from being, I don't want to say sheltered in that regard, but just being a mother practically your whole life to now transition into being representing artists. Now you got to go to the clubs and
it was different. Yeah, it was really different because I wasn't, like I said, I was raised in church, and then other than that, I was doing my thing, radio, TV, all the other stuff. So it was really different, going into like the club atmosphere and just being around, everybody. But at the end of the day, my mindset was always about business and making things happen and making sure, like, I believed in my artists and making sure other things happen, like with Obama, and when we did that and got all those people registered, and he was on TV getting the Obama sign. Yeah. See, stuff like that, it was more of pushing towards like the positive things and positive stuff. So I kept the structure part of, everything.
Man,
so, yeah.
It's something so legendary about legendary guests is that they'll talk about the most, but when it's something as Obama, he's only the first black president. He did a little, they fast forward past that. Can you please walk us through what it was like helping Obama?
Yeah, it was,
helping the community
So I don't know if you guys remember, those of you that are watching, back the club that was over there on Main Street. Was it called Cream or what was the club that was on Main Street?
Was it Rain or Cream?
Rain or Cream?
It started off as Rain first,
Rain,
and then it was Cream.
see y'all. Okay. So
I was a door girl at all of them.
Legendary.
So right. She can tell you.
Yes.
But we did the all black event. I don't know if you remember the all black event, and it was really major because what we did was we brought the election registration cards, and everybody in order to get in the club, you needed to register to vote.
That's
So
hard.
people don't know that was chaos was a big part of it. It was like maybe over 400 people or something like that that actually got registered just because they wanted to come into one of the events that Fan First was doing or he was doing or whatever. But they got registered to vote, and they was all about the whole Obama and pushing the whole Obama thing. So that's how it got started. So that was kind of like the major part of us pushing and supporting the whole Obama
So
thing.
I was gonna say, greatest experience as a, like going to the club. What was one of your worst experiences of having to be out in the clubs?
This was one of my worst experience. My first time ever going into a strip club, and Chaos was throwing a party at the strip club, and so I'd never been in one, and to go in there, and I set everything up, but I was walking around a little bit, and to see the girls on the floor and dollars being thrown at them. I'm just talking about dollars. Now, I'm not seeing no 20s and 100s.
Just dollars.
Nothing like that. I'm seeing dollars. I know it's the truth. And I felt some way as a woman, and I'm not knocking none of y'all as strippers, because, I know, a lot of you guys. But I felt some kind of way as a woman to see them on the floor and just dollars, being thrown at them. So that made me feel some kind of way. But of course, the shootings and stuff like that, you in the club and they shooting and carrying on, or the fighting and stuff like that. So I wasn't used to, anything like that. But it was a lot of major things that happened in the clubs too. Monumental things with the artists and them supporting each other. So those were the great things. But that was the worst things that when you said just was different for me.
I also want to add, so like part B to that is like now, nowadays, they have the women power movement, which I'm proud to have. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a daughter. Of course, I want a power. I mean, like, even if I didn't, I got sisters, I got a mom, and like that. So don't put me in that same box.
Okay.
And this is a weird segue. I'm not saying this for my daughter, but like to see women now making more, like using their own platforms and stuff like that. I mean, we just had Dollar Bill on here, and he was talking about how the fans only and stuff like that have really changed it. Because to me, I mean, like to see women in there doing the same thing essentially that they could be doing for themselves, getting dollars and now getting hundreds of thousands of dollars, stuff like that. To me, I feel it as at least a sign going to the future. Not saying you need to go take your clothes off, but if you're doing it for yourself and your family, not for a promoter like that. So man, you over there smiling. So what are you smiling at, man?
I'm just saying,
Clean.
Yeah, he cleaned it up real good. Real
He
good.
cleaned it up.
you advocate for that strip.
Yeah.
But on the other side,
Yeah.
some of these strippers getting bankrupt.
Yeah. I mean, they are. We're not knocking them. I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
Yeah, but.
So speaking of women empowerment, which is the segue I was going to, Smed. Jesus Christ. Age has age no factor.
Yeah.
Where did you come up with the idea, and where did it start?
Age No Factor actually started, remember when I was saying about how I started going back and forth from Dayton to Atlanta. At that point, I was 40 years old, and I was told that I was too old to pursue my modeling, any type of career. I was a mother, a grandmother. I was just told that I was too old, for any of the things that I wanted to do.
I just go back 20 years. You still look good in every picture I looked at.
Thank you. So what I did was, as I was going, at that point in time, I think my hair was red, and I had like gray contacts in, and I really worked out. And so one day I was walking, and I asked God, was it too late? And he said, your age is not a factor. And I said, dang, age is not a factor. So when I started posting it and saying it with everything that I did, like affirmation for myself, my age is not a factor. My age is not a factor. My age is not a factor. So as I started saying it to myself, it started getting in me and in my spirit. After that, you couldn't tell me nothing. My age is not a factor. So when I started going to the model calls, the models, young models would be like, here she go. Here she come. Here she come. Things like that. But they actually thought I was young. And so when they found out I was an older woman, the respect. So then they would talk and I would talk to them and we would just encourage each other. So I started doing like the modeling and the basketball tournament. I got invited by a radio personality to a basketball tournament, and that's where I met Neffy. So when I met Neffy, Keisha Cole's sister
from BT,
from BT, Frankie Neffy show. So when I met her, rest in peace, Frankie. But when I met her, she was intrigued with the Age No Factor. Like she was like, "What is this?" So her and her husband actually invited me to their house, and we had dinner. And so we talked about the Age No Factor. Then Mama D was crazy about the whole Age No Factor movement, and then called me and featured me in her music video.
Yes.
With that. So that's what started the whole thing of everybody pushing it. And Miss Chalet, I went to LA and interviewed with Miss Chalet about the whole Age No Factor. And it just went from there. And I started bringing my friends along with me so they could experience what I'm experiencing. Like, y'all see what's going on about this whole Age No Factor thing. And it's just been growing and growing, ever since then. But it was about inspiring people, though. So it started off inspiring women 40 and over, and then I realized that the younger women started reaching out to me and had stories as well. So then that's how sis started coming along, with me, and then the men. And so my first Age No Factor interview was with Tony Terry, and also
Smay.
Yeah.
Jaden put one in the bucket.
So I interviewed with him some of the male personalities in Dayton, and also Tommy Ford from the Martin Show.
Ford.
Now, Tommy Ford from the Martin Show, some of you may not know this, but he was the one that told me to film Age No Factor. He was the one that said, JVet, you have something with Age No Factor, because he was supposed to come and I was supposed to interview him with all those men, and it was something that happened with the booking part.
He got to work that day.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay.
Right. So it was like a compromise. Yes, I know. Right. So he wasn't able to make it, but he personally called me to talk to me about that he believed in, what I was doing.
That's
so
amazing.
yeah. But a lot of the support, believing didn't come from my hometown. Not at all. It was out the way. Yeah, it was actually out the way. And it was the grinding and pushing, in Atlanta that really started it. And then I started bringing it back to Dayton, but then I started bringing friends and everyone. Like I took a bunch of friends to be in Mama D's music video. Any filming that I did, I just started bringing more of my Dayton people just back that way.
In that order.
In that order. In that order.
So, what was like being on the CBS The Talk?
You guys, that was so fun and funny.
Oh my God, you're the voice.
Yeah, it was funny. Listen, because actually, my sister had entered me in that. And believe it or not, my sister, she entered me in it, and the producer called me from The Talk and said, "Hey, can I speak to Robin or JVet?" And I said, "This is she." He said, "This is such and such from The Talk." I said, "No, it's not." I said, "Don't call playing with me like that." I'm getting kind of, with the man. And he said, "No, really, this is The Talk. The Talk. What are you? The Talk is calling me?" He said, "Yeah, we had this contest about something." So he asked me to put together just a few seconds. They gave me 3 different topics, and I had to do a video. So, of course, I chose the video about the senator that was messing with a younger person, and I felt that age wasn't a factor, you know? So I chose that because it was able to give me the punchline on national television to say age no factor. So I did the little video, and then you have to send it to them. And so I'm waiting. I was like, I guess mine didn't get picked. The next minute, they called and was like, "Hey, what time does we come on in Dayton, Ohio?" And we all calling, "Well, what time do they come on?" 2:00. He said, "You're about to be on at 2:00. So that's how I ended up on The Talk.
Wow. That is cool because, I remember watching it, not knowing you, but just saying it was like, I saw everybody being excited on the timeline because like she from Dayton. I'm like, I go click her page and say Atlanta. I'm like, wait a minute. but to me, I feel like that was super dope. I mean, and like you, and then like for instance, like I remember back in the day when like. We got our little 15 minutes of fame. Well, 15 seconds of it. It's like when you call into 129, you got like, hey, what's good? I want to give a shout out to my baby mom. Look me on Instagram real quick. But to me, like that was super dope.
Thank you.
But of course, I mean that's some of the fun stuff. Let's talk about some of the things you did that were notable as well. Such as the Epilepsy Foundation.
Oh yeah, that was something that was kind of close to my heart because my sister had seizures. She used to have grandma seizures, so I really supported, kept up with that. And I don't know, one day they asked me to come to a dinner, and I didn't know. I just was coming because I support, as always. And I ended up getting an award from the Epilepsy Foundation. Yeah, the Dove Award. I did. I sure did.
You also received another award, the YMCA Black Giver Award.
Yeah, Black Achievers Award. Yeah, I sure did. And that was based off when I had opened up the Grand Hope Street, and I was also on the school board and doing stuff within the community, and also Jefferson Township Days. I was a big part of the Jefferson Days. Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah.
Hey, cousin. So, but we also do the legendary handshake on here, which is the Fly 93.5. So the legendary hood? Or?
Yeah. I mean, those are like actually, DeMarco is my cousin. From the Mitchell side. So 275. that's my cousin, and so we just support each other pretty heavy. And you know how hood is about the community and supporting and with Hood and also Sylvester Darnell, they're all up there in Atlanta and have been very supportive. Sylvester's like my brother. He films Age No Factor, and so all of them in Hood always have been very supportive. When I'm in Atlanta, whether I'm doing the basketball thing, they're always there. Fly 93.5, they're just all supportive. So that's like my family away from home. Yeah.
So Hip Hop Weekly Radio, how did you get started?
Oh, wow. Hip Hop Weekly Radio. I got started with that because they did a casting call in Atlanta. And I went to the casting call, and I was the only one that came with a book like that. Most of the other girls that came dressed very provocatively because they were told, like, if you want to get on Hip Hop Weekly or Hip Hop Weekly magazine, you had to be a certain way. I wasn't that type of person. Like, I really believe in working hard, and I'm not coming off of nothing for anything because I think I can make stuff happen on my own. And so I went and I had my book and everything, and they actually offered me a show. And within offering me a radio show, I got to choose my own cast that I wanted for the show. And at that time, I was filming Not Your Ordinary Diva with Nefertaria from BET. And so I chose her as one of my hosts. And I also chose, oh, God, he going to get me for forgetting his name. Oh, I feel so bad. From the set. Picos and stuff from the set.
You're talking about, give me like his name is.
No, that was the Tracy Sitt reality show. I forgot I did the Tracy Sitt reality show.
Yeah.
But no, this was the comedian. Oh my God, don't get mad at me, bruh. But anyway, and so I chose
not Monty Crew.
It wasn't Monty.
Okay.
No.
I'm looking at other names. I see Tony Terry in there somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, Tony and them have always supported Tony Terry, Tony Sanders. Let me see. Written all over your face, yeah. They all was very supportive. They came down to my 50th birthday. It was like eight different celebrities came down.
JJ? All right.
Yeah, so, JJ. It was JJ.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, JJ. Yeah, it was JJ. On the show.
So
that's it.
JJ that had the TV show.
JJ that was in the movie with the what's the comedian, the kind of brown skinned comedian? Oh God. Cedric the Entertainer. He was in that movie with Cedric on Vacation. Yeah, so JJ that was in there, not the little boy, but the other one that was the uncle that was always trying to get stuff off of people. That was JJ. Yeah.
So I did see that you was on
Tracy Sitt reality show.
Nah, you was on my brother's show. What was it? The one talking about crackhead all the time. What's his name?
Skeeter Fluff.
No.
AJ.
No. Judge
Mathis. Oh.
Look, yeah, I do my own research. Look. Yeah, you love Judge Mathis?
Yes, I was. That was recently.
Okay.
That was recently.
What happened with that?
Actually, there was a young lady or a lady that came on my social sites and said that she was my sister. But she posted it on my pages and said that she was my sister, right? And so, well, that's what Judge Mathis said. But I don't think that she necessarily was cloud chasing. I actually thought, she really thought she was my sister. Her mother had told her, ever since she was a little girl, that I was her sister and that my father was her father. So I don't think by any means, I really support her when, I really feel like that this girl, she thought she was my sister. So when my father passed away as the oldest child, like I just was trying to get everything out the way. If you my sister, we gonna rock, we gonna roll, whoever. And so when I was talking to the show about it, they was like, well, Jay, we want to do it. We want to, talk to you. So that's how I ended up on the show. But it was very interesting. I don't know if you guys watched it. If not, you guys go watch it on YouTube. But she ended up not being my sister.
Wow.
So after doing all that talking and everything, she really thought she was my sister. So yeah, that was the Judge Mathis show. And believe it or not, I actually almost got casted, but they ended up not doing this show with T.I., the entrepreneur show. So yeah, I was real close to that, but they didn't read it.
But like on a Judge Mathis show, I mean, because to us as a viewing public, we don't know what's entertainment, what's not. How real is the show?
It was real. Like, I mean, I literally
like regular going to court.
Yeah, well, the thing is that because of COVID, they don't fly you like normally they'll fly you to Chicago. But they didn't, they put you in a hotel and you have to stay in this hotel all day. You can't go see the person can't come and see you, but they want you in the hotel all day because they don't want nothing to happen. Then producers call you all day. You good? You good? Yes. You still in the room? Yes. Do you need anything? No. And they keep going back. And as it gets closer to you getting ready to film, they will call you, like constantly keep calling you. So I was in one room and she was down the hallway in another room, and everything was set up like Skype-like, and he did the show that way.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. But it was for real. Everything was really for real.
What y'all Judge Mathis, man? I still watch all this stuff.
Yeah, he has a pretty good show.
Yeah. But into more TV, which is more geared to what happened or what didn't happen. You had a reality TV show that fell through. Can you walk us through that?
The show that I actually was filming was called Not Your Ordinary Diva, and it was with like 5 other women that were like friends or associates. Nefertiti and I were the only friends that, I really knew that I was close with. And there was another young lady that we ended up being, kind of close. The other ones was just a cast that they, put together. But we were doing really good. We were filming the show. We were filming. And it was very interesting, but what happened was it was to the point between WeTV and VH1 as far as like who was going to actually pick the show up. I mean, they were sending paperwork to us, for us to sign, but they did ask us, did anybody have anything in their closets and stuff that we need to know about? So I'm like, I'm good. I'm signing the paper, no problem. They want to know your family, everything you do. They knew that I managed CC Service, so they wanted a little bit, about that, everything. I'm cool. It gets to somebody that we think is a female on the show who ends up being, was it transgender?
Really?
Transgender, yeah. Mm-hmm. So he really used to be a guy. Mm-hmm. What happened was he didn't tell the truth. Well, we were going to find out that he was a guy. So he acts like a woman, dressed like a woman. He had boobs, everything. He said that his husband played for the professional football team and this and this and that. So it gets to the point where we get a phone call and we didn't get picked up because the transgender was he was a guy, and he had raped somebody. So yeah.
Wow.
That's what happened on the show.
So it had nothing to do with him being transgender. It was
no.
Right.
Yeah.
So is that why he switched to be?
Yeah, it was a few people that wasn't true.
Swap him out with somebody that didn't do something.
Well, when it gets to the point when they're really finalizing the casting, they're finalizing the cast, like everybody. You know how they do storylines with all the people that are on the shows and stuff now? It was there. We were literally there. And if you had to remove him or you had to remove somebody else, then it was like, do you cast all over or do you do the show? So it just got Chef. We ended up not doing it.
So basically, saying that Judge Mathis is more real than reality TV show.
I would say so.
Wow.
I would say so. I think reality shows, like I was it's a lot of reality shows that I turned down in Atlanta because I was pushing age no factor, and I refused to do certain shows. I refused to behave a certain way. I refused to be a black woman on national TV fighting another black woman. I refused to do a lot of things. If not, I probably would be on TV right now. But at some point, I have grandchildren. My friends have grandchildren. So I couldn't put myself out there on national TV calling another woman a name or fighting another woman. So I always just said, whenever it's my time, it's my time. I'm more about embarking positivity, out there. And when it comes to these reality shows, they want the fighting. I'll never forget being on a show. And I'm not talking about like the strippers, because I have stripper friends, but I'll never forget being on a show and they made the stripper as if she was more important than hardworking women that were really working and entrepreneurs. And a lot of women walked away, from that. And that really had me thinking, like, I have grandchildren. I need to give them options. I need to let them know you don't always have to take your clothes off to be a moneymaker. You don't always have to sleep with everybody in the city or drug. You don't have to do all those things. Right. So it was like, it's just got to messing with me a little bit. And so I pulled away from a lot of projects.
So speaking of which, like you guys have your own project where you actually are pushing that message, which is the Family Talent Project.
Yeah, the Family Talent, which one?
Well, that's my notes to say, the Family Talent Project. It was something where you were putting it together. It says like you're currently working on it. Have it right.
Well, maybe somebody ain't talking about. But no, the only project that I'm really working on right now is just the Asian Factor.
Okay. So
the Asian Factor concept is major.
Thank you.
I think that it's definitely something that everybody can buy into, and if they're not buying into it now, they will later.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Because when you get to a certain age, sometimes you start feeling like you're missing a step or something.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that affirmation for people who do fall into that lane is definitely a positive gear.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, with the age no factor, you had men, you had women doing it. Who were the people? Were they family members who was telling you that you were too old to do some of these things that you were looking to do?
Yeah, I mean, you heard it from everybody. It was some family members, just people like on the street or even on Facebook. I'll never forget where, I think Tiff, you and I used to talk about this, where the young girls, even in the club setting of me, working or doing things for they would say she need to go sit her old ass down. Remember that? And we talked about that. And I said, I'll go sit my old ass down when I'm finished. I'm not finished yet. So when I'm finished, I'll go sit down. And so it was from different people, but I had a lot of people that supported as well. But it was a lot of people, it was like, she need to go sit down. See, my thing was, I used to say, how can you tell somebody who just turned 40 or 50 or 60 how they're supposed to act or how they're supposed to dress or how they're supposed to be? They've never been 40 or 50. They may feel like a total different person at 40 and 50. So who are you to tell somebody how they're supposed to be or how they're supposed to act? I have a problem when it comes to, like, when you see on social media and the women be like, oh, she knows she don't need to be dressed like that. If that woman if she has that body to dress like that or look like that, who are you to tell her? I'm proud of you. You 60? Girl, you look good. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we have a problem. It's like a crab in a barrel mentality to support somebody or say something positive to somebody. You doing good or whatever. It's just like when everybody's like opening up different businesses or some of them the same business. What's wrong with supporting each other? Right. You may not have exactly everything that person have in the store, and if you don't have it, then send them down to that person. Exactly. We have this mentality where we just don't want to support each other, and it just, I don't know. But yeah, when you say that about the the age thing. But you know, with the age no factor, it wasn't just about beautification. So what I did was I would take women that were really excelling, and I would take women that were, you know, kind of going through and needed support, and we would spend the day together. So we would spend the day together. I'll have food laid out. We'll do a photo shoot. They do a makeover. We talking. We encouraging. They have a glass of wine or something. I don't really drink like that, but I'm gonna taste your wine. What's his name? I'm gonna try your wine today. Right. We're gonna try some of your wine. But it was about really inspiring each other. And so what happened was, at the end of the day, I brought them all together, and it was amazing. Amazing, the support and love. That's what I'm talking about. So, yeah.
That's like
I mean, and then like a lot of people that be saying that, you be younger, but you be looking like a trash bag that got cut open.
Man, listen. Please stop.
I mean, like, be respectful of people that are older than you and they look better than you.
And I think with just evolution in the spirit of how things are now, I think that a lot of times the difference that people have with their parents, say 30 years ago or 40 years ago, that age gap is a lot different.
Yes.
Teenage mom.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a child when you're 17 or 18 years old, you guys will have commonalities with music, commonalities with what you guys like on TV and all of that type of stuff. So you may not be that spread apart, just in just different ideas. You'll have certain maturities that'll be different, but I do see that. Like me and my son, man, we like a lot of the same stuff.
Same.
A lot of
Likewise.
the same stuff, you know, and I mean, we vibe together. So I think that age no factor is actually like really real.
Fire.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I like that concept. I never really fully grasped it until I hear you talking about it right now, and then it's like, oh yeah, that's major. It's major. I think that everybody could really support that for sure.
And also, age has no factor on your heart, because you also have done things that are very, very positive, such as your Dating Strong telethon you did with your cousin Marco 275. Which for people that's in dating, you already know, but for YouTube Stratosphere, we had a catastrophic round of tornadoes that decimated our landscape completely. 14 tornadoes. You know what I mean? And then I don't know if you were even here at that time. I think you've already way down in Atlanta.
No, I was here. Actually, what happened, I was playing basketball at Ballin' for Lupus, and I drove back. I came back. I went to see my mother, and I think I maybe laid down for probably about an hour, and I was in the middle of it, and everything. My place got messed up, windows messed up. Yeah.
So you actually were inside of the house when it got...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, fell down.
Was that your first time experiencing anything like that?
Oh yeah, it was like, what in the world? It sounded like a train or something.
No, because I was going to go on to further stepping on my points. Because I'm about to say we all have a commonality of living here, because we always felt we were protected by the valley.
We did valley. Yeah.
So what was it like to have that?
It was like, what happened was my son ended up calling me, my son Carlos, and he was like, what are you doing laying down? He said the tornado was on such and such street, and as soon as I jumped up, I heard something that sounded like a train. It was like, woo, 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 woo. And I said, what in the world? And I jumped up, and as I was running down the hallway, windows was busting. And then I heard this big boom, and that's when I kind of slid on down the stairs, and then on into the closet. But it was a very scary thing, and then to be without, utilities and water and all that. I think it was like for 14 or 15 days. It took a minute, to get up for them to get up to where we were, and so it was a very scary thing, but at the same time, it was another testimony day.
Right.
Yeah.
And what was it like to be able to give back?
It was a beautiful thing, because actually once I was able to get out of my area, what was I doing, or what were we doing? We were going and giving things to people, and I was a driver, and I was driving around, and I was going to pick up stuff and giving it to people and families, and I didn't even think about myself. It was just about everybody else.
Speaking of you doing that again, which is during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Y'all were doing live readings. I think for a radio station it was the healing It was called Holiday Healing Gift, where you had on Joseph, Bruto, and Kristen.
Oh man! So now you've moved on to COVID.
Yeah, COVID. Yeah.
You moved on to COVID. So what I did was I did a show, and I had a doctor on there. I had a couple of people that had COVID a couple of times. I had even 2 mediums on there. And I did that because some of the guests that I had on the show had lost their parents or lost someone in the family due to COVID, and they needed healing. They needed some type of, I was just putting this show together, but how God made it move was just amazing. And it was very informative, from the doctors, from everyone, and even from those that lost their loved ones, and for the mediums to kind of talk through that. And I did that also because I lost my father from COVID. He died from COVID. And so it was about a healing and helping while I was hurting, just trying to help other people that was hurting at the same time.
Now, and I don't want to put too much onto it, but to lose 2 parents in 1 year, nobody wish that on worst enemy. But to see the contrast of your mother going through like dementia and strokes like that nature, but you got a chance to be with her.
Yeah,
Stuff
yeah.
like that. What's the
wasn't
contrast when it comes to like COVID?
The COVID, when your family catches it, like, you're not able to be in there with them. And so with my mother, I went through steps with my mother. We documented that. Like, I'm good with documenting, and a lot of pictures and videos on Facebook, like just everything was going through with my mother all the way up until my mother passed. With my father, it wasn't like that. It was like a lot of pain, a lot of sorrow, a lot of not being able to be there, not to hold my dad, not to hold his hand, to watch him through a window, and I sat for like probably 9 hours outside of my dad's window until it got dark, and I couldn't stand out there at the window. And it was a very painful thing to watch someone pass, from COVID. So it was 2 different things, 2 different scenarios. My dad, I wanted to go all in for my dad for his funeral. You couldn't. Right when the COVID happened, they had to get cremated. You could only have a certain amount of people. I wanted to celebrate my dad's life. So it was a very painful situation with my dad. The whole thing was very painful.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to give some light as well, and I want to say RIP to your father and your mother.
Thank you.
Shout out to them.
Thank you.
Like, seriously, I don't have any experience with that. My mother and my father still here. Smith has had his father pass, and he asked certain questions, but we're going to go on to some good news, which is like your son. I mean, sure, brother. I just felt like I was.
No, man, when people pass, man, I'm very interested in all of that. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, the word loss is very subjective. You know what I'm saying? And my parents have been passed for so long, and not only them, but just other close friends, man, a close brother, just people who you really spent a lot of time with, shared a lot of like powerful moments, this and that. When they pass on, they are like always right there. And then somebody that I know, let's take Markel for example. Okay, now Markel was right there. He passed away with me, right there with him.
Yeah.
Me, my son, my brother, we were all right there with Markel when he passed away. And I'm going to tie this in for you. I'm going to hand this off to you. But that night when Markel died, I had a dream. And this dream was not a dream, but yet it was a visit. A for sure visit, because that night, like, I was tore up. I was crying that night,
Yeah.
Because it was just like, damn, like my bro really died right there with me. And my son was there, and we was just in shock. But that night when I fell asleep, I dreamed that we was at this pool party, and Markel was there. And man, it was like I was in 2 worlds, a dream world, yet I was awake at the same time, right? And I was almost crying in my dream. And I got ready to tell Markel that I was sorry about what had happened. And he looked me right in my face and he said, I'm straight. And then but he said, bro, I am straight. As to tell me, I'm so good right now. I wouldn't trade where I'm at for nothing.
Right.
And was the realest thing ever. And the same thing when my mom passed away, it was another type of visit. And so what I want to come to you and ask, when your parents passed away, any of your family members or people that was close, did you have any type of dream? Did you have any type of experience to give you confirmation that they was okay, they was still around, or they come and rock with you somehow?
When my mother passed, I was at home. Like, I had took a break. She was at my sister. She passed at my sister's house, so I came home for a minute. I had my grandson with me, and I heard stuff in the house, like moving around, things like that. Like, and then the phone rang, and my sister was like, "You need to, get over here." Blah blah blah. But my mother, she did come, like you said, and I think that needs to happen for some of us in regards to like a dream or a vision or something, to have that closure. And my mother gave me closure just before, like, she passed. My mother couldn't speak or anything. So I've already told y'all how it was when I was growing up. So I said to my mother, 'cause this is a couple hours before she passed, I said, "Was I bad? Was I a bad kid?" You know what I'm saying? So my mother reaches out and grabs my hand. And my sister said, "Yes, she is. She the prodigal kid. Yes, she is. Yes, she was." And my mother said, and she wouldn't eat for nobody, but she ate 2 bowls of soup for me.
Wow.
And I think that she knew I wasn't going to be there when she passed. It was something what she was doing with us, that personal time, with me and her. But yes, she did come to me. And just as she did and supported me throughout my life, she came to me in a dream to live. She wanted me to still live. She still wanted me to keep moving. And it was just, I'm just trying not to cry.
You're strong.
But yes.
Quick break real quick.
You're strong. We're going to fill the cups up too, man. So when we come back, we're drinking KR wine. We'll come back. Come get this
Shout out to
attention.
TL, you in this commercial building?
Look, I just made all these shirts for Michael Wright. TL show.
My nephew right here, big daddy too. Nigga like his daddy.
What we got, bro?
Hey man, what's up?
Yo, what you got, bro?
Man, we got We got these shirts, man. Look at the greenness.
Hold on, pull one out, bro. Pull one out.
Quality shirts.
Yeah.
Not just
Let me see the
shirts.
back.
Quality shirts. What's happening? What's up, guys? Yeah, we doing it right here at the t-shirt, man.
Yeah,
Y'all
man.
didn't know, come and get some of this t-shirt. Okay, this is my brother.
Yeah, man.
Every time I come in the press room, you in the press room. Working on our Stars Hot-Tronic heat press. Using all the vinyl. Making all the picture tees. I like vinyl.
I'm about to just load these boxes up. I'm out your way.
Man, you gotta be a crazy little brother to get fired on your day off. What you get caught stealing boxes for?
Man, I didn't get caught stealing no boxes. He said he caught me though.
You get our rent paid.
Why don't you go in there and ask the girls real fast to see if they help us pay our rent?
That don't sound like a bad plan at all.
What's up, Pops? What's up, Smokey? I'm trying to set up a meeting with the girls, man.
Okay.
Y'all wanna help me and Craig pay our rent?
Craig still owe me money from the last time he got me. He gotta learn a lesson. He shouldn't be stealing. Go ask him to tell that girl from last night to give him some money.
What they say?
They said it's slow for real.
I'm about to just ask boss when we get our job that night.
Of course you can. Yeah!
Yo, what's up with it, man? Legendary People Podcast. Everybody that's watching on Facebook, which that's where I know everybody probably knows about us, but we do want to tell you guys to go and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is the Legendary People Podcast YouTube. You can watch all of our episodes of the Legendary People Podcast on YouTube. We have interviewed Daquan Cook, Michael Wright, Tony Ruby, Ken Lowe, and a whole host of other brothers, Tommy Owens, Marlon Shackelford, Darren Bird.
Legendary
And
people, legendary
it
stories.
keeps going. Like I'm not
Legendary.
half of the people. So please go and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Ring the bell notifications so you can see us every time we drop a new video. Sheiks for breakfast, Agnes All Natural Grill for lunch, And if you ever get injured, call attorney Michael Wright at 937-222-7477. And last but not least, our newest sponsor, which is Kiara Wine. We have to drink some of this right here on air. Everybody here gonna get busted. We not even gonna sugarcoat it, bro. We about to really drink this wine. So, Peanut, back to you.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, so we've been about to do the Kiara Wine right now. I want to thank you so much. It's been such a legendary interview. I mean, there's so much more here. I promise you. I mean, we didn't get a chance to get into you interviewing Bobby Valentino.
Yeah, I did.
I mean,
Miss Mulatto.
Yeah,
you see
I
Miss
love
Mulatto.
Oh
She doing her
God.
thing now, but Miss Mulatto was
Big
just
Mulatto.
She was just a little
Big
girl, just really trying to push in Atlanta. And so I remember taking my son Mario up there, and he was in the studio with her or whatever. And so it's been a few people. Some of the Braxton sisters. Mama Cash. There's been a few people. What, I know.
Yeah, she was just like, what for? Okay, you can stop.
They already know my
I'm a great host.
whatever that.
I'm a great host.
Not
weak.
Respect me.
Get a little shot.
Hey, there we go. Hey, Gotta do some
This is good.
Shout out to Big, man.
Shout out to Big.
Oh, that is good.
Big.
You have to bring some more of that wine.
He gonna
Yes, tell him delicious.
What is the flavor of this?
Peachy.
Tomorrow,
Pleasure
Coach
like peach.
Hoskins coming on.
And it's good.
Darnell Hoskins, man. Coach Hoskins is a great coach, man. He done
That
done a
is
whole
really
lot.
good.
Done went
That
to
doesn't
Mass
taste like
State
that should be wine.
championships.
That should be a little Kool-Aid or something.
That's why you can get wasted.
Exactly.
And Jordan High, he got Coach pulling over there waiting so we don't sit in.
I know. Look, I just sipped and was like, I just kind of wanted to
And
cover it.
Thursday, we got Big coming on the show, man. Big is the owner of Kiara Wine. He
Hey.
Absolutely.
all of his player projects that he got going on. And so, yeah.
Is that from the Trotwood Winery?
So let's do some
The
quick
one that
hits.
did your bottles?
So
Because I saw this on the back, that's why.
this is a quick hit.
Yeah, it
So
is.
you interviewed Lil Scrappy. That was
Yeah.
at the VH1 Love and Hip Hop.
Now I met,
no.
yeah, I did, but I met Scrappy actually through Mama D.
Mama D.
And we were going to have dinner every Sunday. I was over there like every Sunday, me and Neffy having dinner. And then so Mama D and I just started, getting close and cooking. And we did a surprise birthday for Mama D. I brought one of my goddaughter over to sing, for him or whatever. And I even gave Scrappy CC Server's CD. He thought I was leaving. I said, no, I'm just going to the car to get the CD. And handed him the CD. But yeah, so I interviewed him, and all that too. Yeah.
So we also have the JJ interviewing with the Hip Hop Weekly, the TV1 network.
Yeah, we did that, and we interviewed, of course, a lot of people, a lot of artists and entertainers that were on the one, television, network, and so I interviewed a lot of them, and that was also through Hip Hop Weekly. So I, God was really moving. I had a chance to really meet like a lot of people.
Yeah, like Lauren Ricci, you got
Yeah.
Malachi the Gift.
Yeah.
But like, what was one of your favorite experiences from being on the radio or doing interviews? And works. How about that? We also do a works interview every day.
The worst interview, I'm not going to say it was the worst. We'll start with this one. I'm not going to say it was the worst, but it's Mama D. Mama D, keep that brown liquor away from Mama D.
Yeah.
But it was always fun. You never knew what she was going to say. And that was the thing. Like, so it didn't matter where we were, whatever. Like, I'm interviewing her, right? And at that time, remember on VH1 when she was getting into it with her husband all the time? Why am I interviewing her and she just talking about her husband through the internet? And I'm like, Mom, this is your husband. I don't give a care. Get off his mom's titty. This, and that. And I'm live. I'm live on my Facebook page, and I don't even be talking like, man, it never mattered where I interviewed her at. She was going to say, whatever, she just said whatever. So that was the only person that I had to kind of worry about. But I love her. I love her food. She can cook really good and everything. But she was the one that you just didn't know what she was going to say, with interviewing. Neffy's kind of the same way, but Neffy's not as.
A little tame.
Yeah.
So at the I Rock the Mic interview, you had Mama Cash Manager, which is the mother of the National Hip Hop
Yeah,
Artists
now
Festival.
the I Rock the Mic event that I did was actually the radio station that was Waka Flocka's mom, Miss Deb, that's on VH1. And so they did this thing with like 8 radio personalities, and I was chosen to be one. I'm from Dayton, but all the other ones were from Atlanta. But, you know, I'm back and forth in Atlanta enough, you know. So they had included me in, and what you got to do was you got to pick 10 artists to bring to this event. And I chose all the artists from Dayton and brought all the artists from Dayton, different artists from Dayton, to have them, you know, perform. And so that was really great. I had a good time. I was actually filming there too and interviewing everybody. And I was actually one of the radio personalities that interviewed everybody. Wow. I made sure I interviewed and supported everybody and all the artists. Yeah.
So we got this thing that we like to ask our guests, which are legendary, because, I mean, of course, in all the glory we have, we got to have some low lights. What are one of your legendary mistakes?
I would say one of my mistakes was waiting on doing some of the things that I do now. Remember when I said in earlier time about balance? Mm-hmm. It's very important to have balance. And at some point I gave so much, you know, to my family and my kids and stuff, where I remember I said I just set things aside of things that I wanted to do, and all my focus was on them, which is what it should be, you know, especially when they're little children. But I think that was the only mistake, is that some things I felt like maybe I waited too late, you know, in my life, like even getting a divorce. Like I should have did that earlier.
Edit.
Not saying.
I joke. I kid. No.
Not saying it in a bad way, but not saying it in a bad way. Like I was so stuck on family and keeping a family together. If it ain't working, it's not working. You're doing more damage to your children by staying in a relationship than, you know what I'm saying? Like, so certain things like that. Now, my ex-husband and I, we're not on bad terms or anything. I'm not like, we jolly, you know. Right. That is the father of my children, and we have grandchildren and stuff together. But, you know, some things I would, what are you guys saying? I would have probably ended that a little more earlier.
And Mario tagged in.
Mario's my son. But I am serious, about that. Like, from the fear of how I lost my sister, I allowed that to, be a part of staying in a relationship when I should have probably a long time ago, because some things, like because of the health issues and things that I'm dealing with now, like, I'm thinking maybe, dang, if I would have back then, I could have been doing this now.
But some of the beautiful flowers that grew from that is such as, like, your son, he was on Good Morning America.
Yes, he was. Yeah, Christopher. Christopher is my oldest son, and he got a full ride to Indiana State. He played football. He was a running back in Jefferson, DB and running back. And we put his highlight together. Not the coaches, not anybody. We did, and we sent them out. And Indiana State happened to get it, and this was after, they pick all their players, and they put it in, and it was like, this kid is still out here. So they ended up calling us. So he did get a full ride, and they wrote an article, you probably saw that, about my son. But right now he is the head coach at Hughes High School. They're doing really good, 5-0 right now. And but yeah, Indiana, he was on Good Morning America. Yeah.
That's legendary. And then you have another beautiful flower from that. I mean, I'm not saying that they all aren't beautiful flowers, but this one's a real beautiful flower.
We already know where he's
going.
He's
talking about Brooke. Yeah, my daughter Brooke. Yeah, my daughter Brooke. And one of the things about my daughter Brooke, I will say this, is one day she said she really paid attention to the Age No Factor campaign that I was pushing, because Brooke felt that she's 30, I think she's 30, be 31, and Brooke felt that, like, she has 3 children, that it was too late for her, and she always wanted to act and model. So she said that she looked at the campaign and what I was really pushing, and started really believing that age was not a factor for her goals, dreams, and visions. So Brooke went to acting school. She started modeling, and then she loves fashion, and then she opened up her boutique in downtown, and right in the smack of downtown, and she's doing awesome. She just came out of nowhere. I know everybody was probably like, "Where she came out of nowhere?" No support.
She was first person to get 2 butterfly effects in one interview.
Yeah.
Here on the Legendary People Podcast, we have a thing called a butterfly effect, where it's either something you said during the course of the interview or something I found during the course of my research that I found that was really profound. The Age No Factor, I think, is an imprint that anybody can accomplish. Such as, for instance, Smith's first goal wasn't to do a podcast. You know what I mean? His first goal wasn't to just be doing T-shirts. I mean, he was doing goals. He was doing music. He was doing everything else to get where he's at.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Phone, cell phone.
Cards.
I told him.
Go all the way back. Phone cards.
Phone cards, right? Not cell phones.
The mini
Phone
cards.
cards, yes.
Age truly has no factor. Like, I remember, like, for instance, like, people saying, like, for instance, you too old to be a rapper. You too old to do this and the third. Like, I was a rapper at one point in time. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, like, I have a story past something like that where it was like my kids first. Now I'm starting to, everybody got to jump on me because they've been doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I had to put it on the back end and stuff like that. To
Yeah.
see you to say that to your daughter and what she's going to accomplish in the future.
Right.
The listeners, it's going to be some little girl sitting at home listening to this later on. It's going to empower her to say, you know what? I can still do this at any given moment.
Right.
Any given moment. Nothing stops you.
Right.
Not graduating high school. Going, taking the back road. Elevator up me, elevator down. I say that all the time. Taking the stairs is very safe.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So I want to say again, we're here to honor you and salute you.
Thank
I'm
you.
telling you,
I
this was one of
appreciate
the
it.
most powerful
Thank you.
interviews I've ever done to date.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep, and then as I'm listening to the interview, I was just like, as Peanut's doing the interview, I'm just kind of just having my own mental
Yes.
observation.
He's never done that before either. He just sat back and just soaked it in.
Oh, thank you.
No, for real. Like, no, I'm dead serious. No, Smed. I'm not being funny. I'm dead serious. Like, normally it's some back and forth. I'm like, Smed, but he's over there literally calculating. So go ahead, Smed. I mean,
No,
Yeah, he's never quiet.
at all.
As
He a Leo.
I was
I'm a Leo.
observation.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
But you know what I was thinking though? A lot of the things that you were saying, man, you have a lot of resilience. And you never quit. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like you just gonna keep going. And that's a trait that like more people should have because you never really fail. You only get data, and the data that you get just helps you improve for the next attempt.
Yeah.
And then it just seemed like I just keep seeing that type of reoccurring theme in all of the things that you do. And then you tell me you got a book with the word
The power of tenacity. Yeah.
The power of tenacity. And when you said that, I was like, okay, right. That all lines up with what I'm seeing. And I just, age no factor. You know, that's really the lick for everybody. And it's another way of saying, like, never quit. I don't care how old you are or how far away you seem like you are from your goal. Your time is not up yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
You always got another attempt. If yesterday was messed up for you, the probability of today being better is good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we got a slow
yeah.
day today at the shop. I say, well, damn, we should be coming up on a good day.
Right.
You know, and that's the age no factor
Hey.
variable.
Right.
Right. That's a bar.
We always got an opportunity or something good is around the corner for us.
Right. And you have to
Powerful for real.
and you have to look at it that how I take it, and I encourage everybody else to, is that you never lose, you learn. So at the end of the day, whatever you go through, you take it, and I've learned something, and then I keep on moving. I win.
Yeah.
We win.
A blessing or a lesson.
Lesson, come
Yeah.
on, blessing or a lesson.
Yeah.
So I was just one, like my friends, I don't know, you got a long list over there. But I just wanted them to be able to even just say something, because like even with Ish, how we met and how she started supporting the Age No Factor campaign tip. So, but I want you to go, you know, you the host and you have a list. So we gonna go by what you.
I'm actually at the part where we're gonna interview the guest. So, it's real good.
It's like she knows your segues better than you.
How did you come in? She does. She was like, I know where you got that from. I'm like, hell.
Yeah.
So when did you come into the movement? That's how you joined that nation.
No, really.
When did you come into the movement, and what has it meant to you?
Well, I officially joined in 2018. But I have been watching Robin for a lot of years. Like I said, I was the door girl at most of the most popular clubs in the city. I started at Tiffany's and I ended at Juicy. So that gives you Cream Rain, Evolution, MJ's, and a lot of everything else. So with that being said, when she would come in, I'm funny about my door, okay? I run my money, okay? Like, you're going to pay. I'm going to control the crowd and all of that. But when she came, I never had any problem handing over my door to her. Like, I was very skeptical about parties and people, I'm going to put my mom on the door, I'm going to put my girlfriend. No, I'm sorry. You're not going to do any of that. We're going to run this money this way, and then it's going to be cool at the end of the night. But with Robin, she would come in so professional, and I always paid attention to her because of her shoes. Okay, so Robin's shoe game is official, okay, like always has been. And you see her coming because she's walking. She doesn't look like anybody else in the club. She looks like she's a boss and she came to run everything, okay, and it was just always that. Like, I mean, and then I learned she was, you know, so it wasn't a problem. But as time went on, she actually invited me to audition to be in one of her fashion shows for her 50th birthday. And so I was just like, okay, I guess I'm gonna do this because I'm 41 now. So the biggest thing about modeling, and I've modeled on and off throughout my whole life, once you get about 25, it's a wrap, okay? And the industry will tell you it does not have to be your friends or your family. Once you're 25, hang it up, you're old, okay? Don't even try. Because if you think about it, years ago, they tried to take models at like 14 and 15, you know? So by the time you're 25, you've been in the industry for a while and you're kind of burnt out, you know? So, you know, I went through some things, you know, when I was about 20, 21 years old, got in trouble, you know, I had to kind of cease my career, you know, I had to fight through that, and I kind of missed my age gap, you know, so after that, you know, I do small things, brand ambassador work, you know, doing promotions and stuff like that, but that's easy work, you know, there is no runway, there is no print, you know, you don't qualify for that, you know, then it was if you're not at least 5'9", don't even think about doing, you know, runway, and I'm 5'7", so, you know, that kind of killed that, and then also, you're from Dayton, Ohio. They don't know anything about modeling there, you know, so it's a big shun. And I've done a lot of traveling, been back and forth to Atlanta, and worked with some people, worked with some modeling agencies, and then come home, you know, so, and then it's like the cease and desist. Then I had my daughter. Once I had my daughter at 28, I knew it was over, you know, I'm like, oh, I'll never be able to model again. I'm a full mom, you know, like it's over. Then I started following Robin, and so she asked me, and I put my shoes back on, and I started doing runway with no bicker. Like, her whole vision is amazing, you know, like when she meets people, like her whole energy, she's helpful, she's loving, she's inviting, you know, and people probably like how the girls in the club used to say, oh, take her old ass back and stuff. No, you just was stupid, okay? Like, you want to meet people, and you want to be around people that are gonna give you motivation, you know, to do better, to do more, you know, and Robin gives all of that. Age no factor is so profound. Like, I've traveled to Atlanta many times with her and just seen like how people gravitate towards her, you know, like I'm a super Kiki Wyatt fan, has been my whole life, and I'm like really close with her mom now because of Robin, and her brother, I've got to perform with him, you know, so just small stuff like that, you know, and then getting to meet people and their genuine them. Like, not the celebrity them, but they're genuine them, you know, because she makes people feel very genuine and humble, not that I'm a celebrity and I'm this, like I'm her friend, you know. Exactly. So being introduced to that is just awesome. It's amazing. The people that I have met, the opportunities that I've been offered just because I've been to Atlanta. Like, I went for what is it, the Balling for Lupus with her, and
she getting buckets now in the purple and all that.
She was playing with the purple hair and everything, and in the full face. Okay, she was full beat. Okay, to the gods, and still was out there playing, you know, with no bicker and a knee brace. Okay, and she was still playing, you know. The people that I met, I actually met a guy that owns a company called AJ Reports. He does interviews and stuff. He invited me back to Atlanta because I was there just to host a couple of his parties, you know, so I wouldn't have got that opportunity if it wouldn't have been for her, you know. And then so by doing that, I branched off with knowing the owner of the club and then being offered to come back and host more stuff, you know. So, I mean, it's just a lot of opportunities. And as me being 41 now with a 13-year-old daughter, you know, like, age is no factor. Like, that's not, I have no stop, you know, like there's no, it doesn't look like any walls anymore. There is no, oh, I can't do that. or they're gonna say this, or they're gonna feel this type of way. She opened the window.
Wow.
So.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I love you, sis.
For everybody listening, I'm anchored in this hug right now. So here's my dream podcast. We think kind of butterfly. I'm just kidding.
Tiff.
How do you follow that?
Yeah.
I have been watching Robin for a while. I'd seen her. I've done a lot of work in the community with families and everything. And when I saw what she was saying about age no factor, someone in Dayton helping out, I said, okay. So I'd been watching, I contacted her, and man, 2:00 in the morning, we're on our way to Atlanta. I'm gonna be there 3, and at 11:30, I'm outside, and and we're going down the road, and she's like, hold on, she's like, what, nephew, what now, what? I mean, it was just like, this is just a ride, like we're just going with these friends. But what moves me most that she really hasn't talked a lot about with age no factor, the reason it ended up being not just women and not just men and not just 40 and over, because part of that is that you don't have to look like what you're going through or what you've been through.
Right.
So she was in, I don't even know where she met this, she was in rallies, she was in churches for someone. And this young lady was wiping off the tables and everything, and she's, are you having a good day? And just had this we ended up with this whole makeover thing. And then when you sit down and everybody gets to talk about what they've been through, you think you're the only one that's been through something.
Wow.
And when you find out, I thought I had a story, let me perk up because she's been through. And then he said something.
It's deep. That's what I'm saying.
That's
deep.
And so with the makeover, because you start get older, you're losing your hair, you're gaining weight, you're losing weight, you're not, and you've lost that time, that desire to and then it's like, come on, sis, come on, bro, I got you. For people to say, how can I help? Barbers and stylists and everybody, like, what can I do? Because this movement is not just about this look, because when you get to sit around and talk to people and you find out their illnesses, their molestation, their learning disabilities, their, and we hear all that, and then you look up and you see them on the runway.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
I
have
put them on the runway.
no idea.
I put them on the runway.
They, and I've seen her bring people, talk them off the bridge.
Yeah. Literally.
Because it was like, now once we do this, you're not going to forget about me, are you? And Robin's really been there for people who felt like they didn't have anybody else.
Yes.
So all the glitz and glamour is great, but that was happening in the background, the backstory to this, it is so much. It is really so deep, and it's helped so many people. And the people see the other people and see the other people, and it makes everybody else really think twice about, doubting yourself, talking down to other people. We've had 70 and 80-year-old women.
Yes.
Yeah. We've had men, black, white, young, old. I mean, because everybody's been through something.
Right. Yeah.
And when you think that you missed your opportunity, and you get someone who really believes in you and has you believing in yourself, you can't lose.
Wow.
She literally gives hope.
Wow.
And even though I can't bowl, we bowled for actually. We actually bowled.
We did good.
We did good though, because we bowled. We were in a tournament. It was a celebrity bowling tournament, and it was given for domestic violence. But it was Nicki Minaj's mother, Carolyn Minaj, and we actually won. They actually came to Dayton and gave. We did.
Yeah, they gave
us awards and trophies at one of Age No Factor Christmas event, and so we had a great time. We were able to meet whose mother? It was Snoop's mom.
Oh, she's
just
great.
Other people. And we from Dayton. Just from Dayton, just chilling, with them or whatever. But it's just something how God, does that with her.
It was funny when you were talking about Mama D. We after we did the video, the whole video shoot. In that order, they like, okay, so I gotta go run back to my house. Mom Lee, like, I gotta go back to my house. She cooked for
Everybody.
everyone.
Wow.
She like laid out a spread for everybody.
No catering service.
No, she really
Mom
actually
would be,
did.
And
Like,
then
yeah.
they were saying, you know, you're not part of this. She was like, you can't. Come on over here, girl. Get this plate.
Yeah,
you know,
she
and I mean,
was-
it was really real. So to be able to see them in their authentic selves without
Yeah,
all
they
the,
just chilling with me. We're like friends. I'm
We
just
did
chilling with them
KK's,
and whatever.
fashion
Fashion show,
show.
KK from Love and
We
Hip Hop
went
featured
to
in their
Atlanta
fashion
to
show.
do a fashion show for domestic violence.
Yeah, I
For
be
a shelter
forgetting
to
about
raise
all that
money
stuff.
For a shelter
Yeah,
down there.
good
I
idea.
mean, and all this is not always real.
Yeah, 'cause I don't.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
just
stuff
stuff
you
you
do.
just does just to be doing so.
Oh, I love you.
So like I want to say is that for all that we marvel at your beauty, the inside to me is super important. I mean, and for you to embody that, no pun intended. I hate myself. But to me, like, I cannot remember what guests we had on here before, but I think they had said something to the fact of when someone does something for someone that they can't even receive anything back from, that's a true show of their true character.
Yes.
So to hear these things, they probably never said it to you. I mean, like they probably just tell you, "Oh yeah, girl, I'm coming," but you don't know what that "I'm coming" mean. Like that, "I'm coming" mean I'm gonna forget all my problems and just be with you.
Yeah. That's how it always is. It is.
And I'm 55, by the way, while they
Right, dropping ages.
Yeah, you 55.
Go ahead and say it.
Anchor, they all look good. All right, everybody watching on Anchor, they all look amazing, by the way. Look at the picture. We on Apple, we on Spotify right now. We still gotta work out some of them other ones. I'm saying, like I send that check. But yeah, I'm saying it's good. So Spanish, what we do, bro?
Man, you guys, Robin, we're gonna let you take us out, but before we do go, man, one more reminder, man, go and eat breakfast at Sheik's, lunch at Agnes All Natural Grill. If you ever get injured, call Attorney Michael Wright at 937-222-7477. And when you wanna get drunk,
you have a classy time. A classy time.
Man,
Salud.
It's really good too, by the way.
It's good, sweet old wine.
It is
Yeah.
sweet.
I like that.
And it's good.
Pleasure peach.
Yes, sir. Robin.
Yes.
Come on, take us out of here with some words of wisdom. What you got for us?
I just want to say that I always say trouble doesn't last always, and age is no factor, and that never stop pursuing your goals, dreams, and visions. If God gave it to you, He gave it to you, not to anybody else. So it's going to happen. When? I don't know, but if He said it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And love, be real, support. Let's dump the bucket of the crabs in the barrel. Let's start supporting each other more. That's really that much it. Oh, and maybe praying, like pray for me. You know, pray for age no factor, my family and my friends, and I'll continue to pray for all you guys. And just thank you for your support. And then I do want to say though, thank you to those, because I watched a couple of your shows with the positivity in regards to my artists. Thank you so much for that. I do truly appreciate it. They were saying some very positive things, and he's working. He's just away. He's just working. So thank you. Yeah, thank you. Shout out
Don't fall for that. There's somebody out here that hacked my bro's page.
Yeah, on Facebook. Yeah.
Request.
Really?
Yeah. Asking for no money.
Yeah.
None of that.
You got one today? Yeah, I posted I posted that, you know, look, my artist is not, you know, inboxing nobody. He's not requesting. He definitely ain't asking for no money because he don't need nobody's money. He good. He's working right now, you know, and he'll be back soon. Thank you, everybody, for your support. And but that's not him, so, you know, yeah.
No doubt about it, man. All right, you guys, man. We love everybody, man. Tune in tomorrow. We got Coach Hoskins coming on, and